SOSCAST, baby.
We usually get a round of applause out there. We got sound effects. Feel free to use the sound effects. All good. Colby Covington, this is your second time on the SOSCAST. You're on the PBD podcast. What was that, 6 months ago?
Yep.
You had just fought Leon Edwards, I believe, at the time.
Yep.
Your foot.
Yeah.
You broke it in the middle of the fight. You're in a walking boot.
Yeah.
You still managed to choke Vinny out in a nice little skit. Thank you for that. We all appreciate that. We had a great time with you here last time. And now there's a lot of things going on in the news. A lot of things that I feel like you'd be perfect to weigh in on. And plus, it's what the crowd wants. You got to give the people what they want, right, Colby?
That's right, man. You got to be a man of the people. So appreciate you doing that for the people like that.
Listen, we are a man of the people. Just because you look good doesn't mean we can't be a man of the people. Colby Covington, you know who he is. Former welterweight champion of the world. 175 is welterweight, right?
170.
170.
Yeah.
Come on, Adam.
Okay, I ate a little.
Yeah.
I ate a couple too many of Laura Patrina's empanadas. My bad. 170. We all know one for sure. I might have messed up the weight. Trump's favorite fighter. I didn't mess that up.
No.
And King of Miami, aka Pembroke Pines, in La Casa. Yeah. To my left, the lovely Natalia Del Valle is in the house.
Hello, everybody. Happy SOSCAST Day. I'm ready to get this party started. Kobe's here.
You know she's ready to party.
Yeah.
To her left, wife, mother, entrepreneur, and runs the best Cuban food in all of Miami.
Yes.
In La Casa, Laura Padrino.
Hi.
And new to the SOSCAST, but making her way to the ring, second time in a row. Defending champion, being a beautiful chick, Marissa Young is in the house.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, from New Jersey, realtor, former Bang girl, but Colby informed me that
There is no more Bang, man.
There's no more Bang.
They went out of business. You know, there's a company that overtook them. So, you know, God bless Jack Owak and the Owak family. You know, I hope they're doing good, and nothing but the best for them and
he's a beast.
going
Did
forward.
you spend some time with him?
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of time with Jack. He's a beast. He's a you know, he's very innovative. You know, he's a creator, and you know, he's gonna find a way to bounce back from this loss and tragedy, and you know, he'll come back stronger because you know he's led by God.
There it is. Well, shout out to you, Jack. But today's show is all about Colby. And by the way, it's been raining, it's been pouring, it's been going crazy here in Miami. So respect to everyone being here, especially you, Colby. We lost a couple ladies out there in the floods. You know, so rest in peace to some of these ladies that are crying their eyes out or flooded out there. They'll be back with us soon, but Colby's with us. So here's some of the things I want to discuss with Colby Covington today. Obviously, the beautiful ring girls. I'm just going to keep calling you that.
Keep going.
Of SOSCAST are going to weigh in. You're going to be a part of it because a lot of the conversations are going to be how men and women get along and think and where they kind of intersect. But UFC, a lot of rumors, a lot of stories out there. There's a big story, obviously, UFC 303 in Vegas. We're going to have that conversation. What's next for Colby? Everyone wants to know. Everyone's asking. We'll address some of that. Ryan Garcia, he's been on the show almost as much as you. He was just on PBD podcast right after he fought Devin Haney. It was Mar-a-Lago. You spent some time with him as well. We'll have a conversation about what's going on with that young man. We talk about finance, romance, follow the money. Let's talk about UFC pay. We'll have a conversation with that. Sean Strickland said some things. You said a couple things about Sean Strickland last time after he roughed up Sneeko a little bit, if you recall that. And then also we'll find out what Colby does with his money, because Colby, one of the biggest names in UFC, he might have some money tips for you guys out there. You know we're going to talk about Trump, MAGA, what's going on with that. Trump said a couple things about Taylor Swift these days, and we'll see if he wants some smoke from the Swifties out there. Are you a Swift fan?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. How about you?
You know I'm not.
Okay. You know I'm not. And then my ex-girlfriend, Chelsea Handler, she's in the freaking news again.
Again. Come get your girl. Go get your girl.
She belonged to the streets because nobody wants Chelsea Handler, including
go.
50 Cent, her ex.
Damn.
We'll have some conversations about that because 50 Cent is basically saying, look, man, I'm on Team Trump. Sorry. And she's like, what? I'll do this and that for you if you get off Team Trump. He's like, yeah, I'm good, Chelsea Handler. Joe Rogan, who obviously you know very well, he has some very interesting takes on what he thinks is going on in the Biden administration. Of course, we're going to talk about everything that's going on. Hunter Biden, he could be going to jail. God forbid, Trump going to jail. AOC thinks she might be going to jail these days. Can we all get along and stay out of jail and stay drug-free?
Hopefully.
Just looking at you, Hunter Biden. Stop, put down the crack pipe and stay out of jail. So, with that being said, let's start the show.
Let's do it.
So, Colby Covington is in the house. We got him. We managed the floods. Shout out to Noah and his ark. But he made it here. But there's a lot of rumors out there with Colby. Here's one of the things that if you just Google's a hell of a drug. You can just Google Colby Covington, what's going on. Daniel Cormier had a couple things that he had to say. DC is, he's sit right next to Rogan, right in front of Dana White when they're doing their thing, talking about this guy, Ian Garry, that we talked about last time. Yeah. And this guy, I'm going to let you say what you have to say about the wife and the this and the ex. But here's what he had to say about this potential fight. And then obviously I want to hear from you. So here's what Cormier had to say.
Colby.
Hit play and
Can't say or try to determine who gets a title fight right now because of the way he lost to Leon Edwards and the way he fought. And it seems like he's unwilling to fight Ian Garry. He should maybe step back and just not really say much at all until another fight comes his way. I don't know what the hesitance is to fighting Ian Garry for Colby Covington. I don't know if he just doesn't want to fight back in the rankings, but I think he needs to recognize that in this situation, that's kind of what he's going to get right now.
Well, a fight with Muhammad is unlikely to happen.
If you go to the beginning of the clip, I want to make sure. Thank you.
At all.
Pause. If you go to the beginning clip, I want to make sure that you know that he said at the beginning, "I love Colby, I love Colby." But come on, Colby, come on, brother. I want him to. So, I want to let you respond. But before I do, this guy Ian Garry's had some things to say. But I'm gonna tee this up, and I want you to knock this thing out of the park. Can I play this clip? So here's what Ian Garry had to say about this potential fight. Do you have this clip, Alicia, on what he had to say about our friend Colby? It's a different clip if you want to pull that up. Okay.
He's going to knock it out of the park. Just, he's winding up. Give him an extra time.
Well, while she's pulling that up, respond to what you think Daniel Cormier had to say that, and then we'll tee up Ian Garry's clip. What's going on?
Yeah, I love Daniel Cormier as well. He's a friend of mine, but everybody knows he's a media head now, so he'll do anything to get some clickbait. And who's the easiest name in the UFC to get some clickbait off of? Oh, trash Colby Covington. Oh, say Colby Covington some mean things about him, and you'll get sympathy from the fans and from the media people because all the media is a bunch of liberal leftists anyways. So, Daniel doesn't know what he's talking about. He's never been the A side, so he doesn't know what it's like to call his shots and wait for the right opportunities. So, the biggest thing is I got to get healthy. I'm not going to go rush out there on someone else's timeline. I'm on my own time, and the UFC knows that. I'm already, a superstar, and I've made so much money. I don't need to fight ever again. So, it's really on my time, and I'll fight when I'm ready to fight, when I'm healthy. And I want big fights. This kid's a nobody. He just got a split decision over the 12th ranked kid. I've been fighting world champion after world champion for the last 7 years straight. So why does this kid deserve to fight me? He's literally the B side, and he thinks he calls the shots and is the A side. So, I'm going to get healthy, and I'm going to look for the biggest and best fights possible. And, we'll see what that happens.
Who do you want to fight next when you're ready? By the way, Alicia, I sent you the clip. You can find that in a second. So, by the way, more importantly is, how's the leg? Because people don't understand this. I saw this firsthand when you were on the PBD Pods. You had a walking boot on. You said that you broke your leg in the first round kicking Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
Give us the status on your health, when you're ready to fight, who you would want to fight. We're not in your world, bro.
For sure.
So give us a little insight to that.
Yeah, I mean, I broke my foot in 3 different places on the median cuneiform bone. So it's the midfoot fracture. So it was literally broken in 3 different spots, going up, sideways, and down. So I don't want to be compromised going into my next fight. I want to make sure my foot's fully healed. I didn't do the right rehab for it, so it took a little bit longer process. So, it's finally getting to the end of the healing process, and I'm ready to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. So UFC knows I'll show up on short notice if Connor pulls out of this fight in the next 2 weeks. I'm ready to save the day. I'm that type of fighter. I stay ready, and I'm just gonna pick and choose my shots. I want the biggest fights possible, but I'm a company man. I love the UFC, so if they call me, I'm ready to fight in 2 weeks.
I love that, bro. A company man. So a couple of things right there. You said if you get a call from the UFC and Connor pulls out, there's a chance that you could fight Michael Chandler.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. Michael's thrown some shade at me in the past saying, oh, I'll take that fight. But, he's just talking. He's not really going to walk that talk. So, if Connor pulls out, I'm ready to save the day.
Okay, so we have the clip from Ian Garry. I want to address this. And then we're definitely going to discuss what's happening with Connor McGregor, Michael Chandler, UFC 303. This is in June 29th, I want to say. We're 2 weeks out, baby.
2.5 weeks.
Here's Ian Garry, and then we'll go to the UFC 303. I'm not a fighter, but I've been in some. I played college football. I've been in some fights. The most frustrating thing for a dude is for a guy who's never done shit that you'll whoop his ass, but he's just running his mouth.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God. How frustrating is it for a guy who's not on your level, who has never done what you've done, to start running his mouth like this? That doesn't come at you. Yeah. He comes at Trump and he comes at MAGA.
Yeah.
You're Trump's favorite fighter. What say you?
There's a reason they call him Connor McGregor. You know why they call him Connor McGregor? This isn't Connor McGregor. He's Connor's biggest fanboy, but you want to know why they call him Connor McGregor?
Why?
Because he sits in the corner and watches his wife get dominated by other men. And that's the truth. I mean, dude, he literally lives with his wife and her ex-husband. Like, it's a little love triangle. Like, he's literally a Connor McGregor. So anything he says, it doesn't bother my life. My life's not going to change. I live a great life. I've changed my life times 10 over. So this kid, he's just talking. He's talking the talk. He doesn't walk the walk. His last fight, he beat the number 12 guy by split decision. You think I'm scared of you? I've been knocking out fucking champion after champion for a decade straight. So why would I care what this fucking
There's no doubt
says?
your pedigree. There's no doubt your record. How did his name even come into the equation with you?
I don't even know how his name came in. I think just all the fans hate him and his wife and that little situation they got going on so bad that they just wanted me to call it out. They wanted me to say the truth. Like, the girl's writing a book about how to be a wag, how to be a wife and a girlfriend.
Yes.
So she's literally telling the people, like, this is my life, this is my business, how I conduct business. And she lives with her ex-husband, who they have a kid together, all in the same house. Like, that's some weird cuck shit. So that's why he's Connor McGregor, and nothing he says holds any substance.
So not Connor McGregor, ladies and gentlemen. Connor
McGregor.
McGregor. So moving on from Connor McGregor to the actual Connor McGregor. Want to hear what you have to say about Connor, because here's someone who can talk the talk and walk the walk. But there's a lot of rumors out there circulating. What is happening with UFC 303? So he's supposed to fight Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's been on the PPD podcast with us. Dude, short, stout, strong ass dude. These are lightweights, right?
Yeah.
These are guys who are 10 pounds less than you?
No, their fight is actually scheduled at welterweight at 170.
Really?
Yeah, it's scheduled
Okay,
at
so this
welterweight.
is your weight.
This is my weight class.
Okay,
yeah.
so here's some of the stories that, Ariel Helwani, he's out there. He's talking about the fact that UFC is burning the midnight oil, trying to find a replacement for Connor. There's a press conference that was canceled. There's rumors circulating. Is Connor injured? Is he unhealthy? What's going on there? Meanwhile, Michael Chandler is posting these sort of cryptic messages. What's going on? Social media. So give us a prediction. I know you're in the fighting business, not the prediction business, but is this fight going to happen? Could you get a call? If you have to step in the ring with Chandler, how would it go? What do you think, Colby?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Connor's already set. He's made so much money. His whiskey business. A couple $100 million. The boxing fight with Floyd Mayweather, $100 million. What is his incentive to fight? What's getting him up early in the morning to drive him to go train for training camp? And what's gonna get him motivated to go fight a bum in Michael Chandler, who doesn't even have a winning record in the UFC? The guy's literally like 1-4 or 2-4 in the UFC.
Because before UFC, he was fighting in...
He was fighting in the amateur scrub leagues. Some random promotion. I'm not even going to say the name because it's not worth it. So it's literally an Indian casino fight that some promoter put together, and it's a bunch of bums
So
fighting.
why would Connor choose him? Because Connor could fight anybody. Yeah. Everyone would want to fight Connor. he could pick anybody. Yeah. Why would Connor fight Chandler of all people?
Because I think he thinks it's the easiest lick. You know, the guy's been getting knocked out and tapped out by everybody in the division. So he thinks it's an easy payday and to come back and smash this kid real quick.
So chances that you think this actually happens, like flip a coin 50-50, or is it way less than that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like 25% that it happens.
Really?
I was a critic before, like saying he's not going to show up. And I think it would be the most genius marketing move in the history of marketing if he just used all this promotion leading up into this fight and then just pulled out. You know, it just I think that
proper 12 whiskey if you
exactly. Make sure you get your proper 12 on the way out too.
So it's safe to say you're not a fan of Ian Garry. You're not going to take a fight with him. He's not on your level. Yes.
I mean, if he wins a couple big fights, you know, do something meaningful. Like win a main event. He's never even been in a main event 5-round fight. That's all I fought for the last 8 years. The guy's fighting in 3-round fucking little undercard fights. I'm main event, top of the bill, Madison Square Garden, 4th highest gate in company history. So I do big numbers. Everybody knows I'm a big business player. So when this kid gets to my level and he starts showing me that it's worthy, then I'll go smash him. It's an easy fight, easy payday.
So he has to earn his stripes before he can get in the ring with Colby Covington. Got it. Chandler, there's a chance you could get this call. And if you end up in the ring with him, it sounds like you're pretty convinced that's light work. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude! I could beat him with one hand tied behind my back. I swear I would do it too. Tie my left hand behind my
back. Marissa, grab the rope. Let's see
what's. No, but Colby. Okay, real talk. If you have to be fight ready all the time, you're saying, or just now knowing you might get a call, or like how is that like? You're just constantly trying to prepare, or right now with your healing, like do you think you would be in a couple weeks ready to go?
Oh,
with one hand tied behind your back?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt,
with
you know.
Your ankle boot on.
With the ankle boot on. I'm smashing him with my other ankle. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, I stay ready. I train 6 days a week. That's my lifestyle. I'm committed to the grind. I'm committed to being the best I can be at my craft. My craft is being a martial artist. So, you know, I train 24/7, 365. There's no off days. I don't party. I don't do anything. So I'm fully committed to being the best fighter and leaving a good legacy for the people.
So it's actually a great question because she's basically saying, look, at any point, you can get a call.
Yeah.
Like, ring, who is this? Hey, it's Dana. How you doing? What's up, Colby? Oh, what's up? So we're going to need you in Vegas. When? Yeah, next weekend. Let's go. Boom. Is that just how it could happen?
That's how it could happen. It's happened before. I remember before I fought Ruthless Robbie Lawler, who's one of the biggest legends in the welterweight division. They called me on like a week and a half on 10 days notice, and they were like, hey, this fight fell apart. His opponent, Tyron Woodley, pulled out a fight. Would you show up and save the day for the UFC in this main event slot? I said, absolutely. Say less, Dana. Let's fucking go.
So in your preparation, like right now, mentally, visually, sort of projecting, are you preparing for Michael Chandler?
No, I'm preparing just to be the best that I can be on that date. It could be Michael Chandler, it could be Charles Oliveira, it could be a whole nother entirely different fight altogether.
Wow.
But I'm preparing to be the best I can be on that date and showing up and being the company man and doing good business for the company.
So last thing, let's just dream for a second, because the reason that this fight, you know, potentially wouldn't happen is because Connor would pull out, right? Chandler's not pulling out.
Yeah.
Let's just say in an alternative universe, Chandler pulls out. And there's Connor McGregor in the ring with his proper 12, and you get the call. It's time to fight Connor McGregor versus Colby Covington. Chaos in the ring. What does that fight look like?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a one-sided ass whooping for the Americans.
Yeah?
It looks pretty dominant, you know. He can't hang with my pace, you know. Look at what Nate Diaz, he was melting him. You know, I respect McGregor. I don't want to talk shit on him because he's unpredictable. You know, no one thought he was going to beat Jose Aldo. He went out there and knocked him out in 7 seconds. So, you know, I know I'm on a different level of fighter than him, but, you know, he's a different level of star. You know, he's one, you know, with the parlaying into that Mayweather fight, he became the biggest star the UFC's ever had. So respect to him and what he's done. He has some amazing accomplishments, and I have nothing but respect for him.
Boom, but a W for the Americans.
But a W for Donald Trump's favorite fighter.
Respect, Colby Covington. All right.
Nice.
Is that what you wanted to know, Laura?
Yeah, just pretty interesting. You have to be like on all the time, like with 1 week's notice,
There
with
it is.
one hand
now,
tied behind your
Marissa,
back.
worst comes to worst, we're going to need you to bring the rope, just in case. So, moving right along. There's another name in the news, and this guy, Ryan Garcia's name keeps popping up, right? Sometimes it's for the right reasons, and sometimes it's for all the wrong reasons. So we've spent some time with Ryan. We first met Ryan at the Soho house party we did in Miami.
Yes.
And he was there. How he was the whole crew.
Yes.
And he kind of had this like man, I'll fuck anybody. UFC guys, legends were there. Like we're like, damn, this kid's like he's on one right. Type of thing.
He's on.
But that's kind of how you have to be. But when I said for all the wrong reasons, here's the situation where he was arrested just this past weekend for felony vandalism at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in LA for allegedly causing up to $15,000 in damage. If you want to play that video again, there's him being walked out of the hotel in handcuffs and wearing a helmet, like a fighting helmet.
Guard, yeah.
So
When you guys say helmet, I really thought you meant like special person helmet.
no, it's a special person helmet. That's what you thought.
I mean, doing that stuff.
King Ryan, really, Padrino.
Because he does crazy trolling stuff, so I thought it was like him being funny. I didn't realize it was like
Yeah, so it's funny you say that because when the conversation he had on PBD podcast, he said he claimed to troll the entire world, and that it was the biggest publicity stunt ever. But there was a tweet in that article. If you scroll down and see that article in the Prast article, this is what Andrew Tate just basically said: "Free Ryan." But go back to the previous article. If you scroll down, there's a tweet that Ryan has where he says, there it is right there. He said, kind of funny. Go ahead, Nat.
Kind of funny. Both Trump and I are in jail. I don't know if he's in jail, but I know he got convicted. This sucks, but I love Jesus and I will be okay.
All right. So here are just a couple things that
Very
I'm going to show a
confused.
video of Ryan and Colby recently, probably a month ago or so. I'm going to let you explain what you think is going on here. So here's just some of the things that Ryan has been dealing with. The incident follows a tumultuous period for Garcia, including mental health concerns. You thought that he's crazy. You thought he was wearing a crazy person helmet, just a boxing person
I think
helmet.
he acts crazy.
Ryan, if you have a problem, you find Laura at Padrino's Cuban restaurant. Not me, bro.
Be quiet.
There's been actually a welfare checks by the police, making sure he's divorced. Been seen out with multiple women. I think it got engaged allegedly
That's what I thought.
to a porn star,
Oh, I didn't know she was
an
that.
Aussie porn star.
Okay.
There was a Devin Haney fight where he didn't make weight by 3 pounds. By the way, do you know he was fighting at 140? He was 3 pounds overweight. Tell me if this is common. He had to pay $500,000 for each pound overweight. Is that common?
I mean, it could be common. It depends on what his purse is, because usually when you're missing weight, you're getting fined 20 to 40% of your purse.
Shit.
So if he's making like a $5-10 million purse, 500,000 pounds a pound makes sense.
So he lost $1.5 million for being 3 pounds overweight.
Imagine that, ladies.
Makes you want to think about your
Imagine
tweets,
that,
ladies. So he won the fight, but now he's facing doping and steroid allegations. So it's like he's getting wins, he's getting losses, but he's not down out for the count. We saw that Andrew Tate tweeted support of Ryan, but more importantly, we got Colby Covington here.
Uh-oh.
We have some footage of Ryan kind of, mixing it up with Colby. I don't know where this was. Was this at Mar-a-Lago? Where was this video?
No, this is outside the gala in Miami
This is,
Beach.
I was
baby.
thinking that. I was thinking that. I was
Okay,
like, I
I'm
think I
like,
know
why
that.
do I know where this
Yeah.
is? Because Colby and I might have been there at 4 a.m. at one point. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
Drinking water, though, of course.
Water.
Of course.
Here's Ryan teaching you a couple little moves. Go ahead, play the audio.
We're not expecting. So it's either head or which one do you want? I don't know. Or it's and then if I see you lean back. It's so you jumping into it. Now have your hands up. Are you rotating?
It's always the right time.
So now it's
It's always the right time.
if your head is covered. Okay. Now if it's
Look at Colby's face right
That
there.
reaction was so funny. Oh, that's
Be respectful,
Yeah.
Yeah.
be
Of
respectful.
course.
So,
No,
You're out.
Colby.
you entertained it for sure.
Listen, there's only a few people in the world that can legitimately answer these type of questions. People who are fighting for a living, who have made it in the fighting business, have notoriety, have status, got good looks too.
Yep.
Ladies, man, I'm just saying.
You said.
Okay. What's going on with Ryan Garcia, in your opinion?
Ryan's cool. He took time to show me a trick, his famous left hook, what he's very famously known for. He's knocked down a lot of people with that left hook, so it's lightning fast. I just wanted to kind of see it and see what that timing was like. But, honestly, it was weird that he came out and said all that stuff was a gimmick on your podcast because, you know, after hanging out with him at the gala, like he really is a wild boy. So I don't know why he's trying to like tell the fans that he's not wild because he really is wild. Like that's how he gets around and moves. But I think I think he wants sympathy and to be painted in a good picture. But, you know, live your life, do your thing. You're doing big things, but, you know, nothing but respect for him.
So how much of it do you think is a publicity stunt? How much do you think he's actually just kind of, would you said he's a little...
What? No, he's trolls.
You know, a little kooky, a little crazy?
He has a little bold
what are you going to say?
No, he can get a little bit bold on the internet, you know, and I think sometimes, especially with the internet today, it's easy to be somebody on the internet and then be somebody off the internet. So to kind of hear that he is like that, it's kind of like, all right, well, we are getting who he is. You know, at least it's not
I
like
think he's what you see is what you get. I don't think he's
which
putting
makes
on a
sense.
show. Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's different.
So do you think it's an act? Do you think it is who he is? Like, give us a little insight to what you think is actually going on. Not so much out there, but when he's alone by himself, he's like, all right, bro, we gotta troll these people out here. We gotta get some eyeballs, you know. We're in the eyeball business. We're in the intention business. You know, clicks equals money these days. Behind the scenes, what do you think is going on in Ryan's head?
I think it's a combination of both. I think he's like, you know, I need to mix it up, be more entertaining because this is the entertainment business. The more people you get drawn in, the more pay-per-view and the more clicks you're going to make money off of. So, you know, I think with him, though, it's kind of like the wrestlers back in the day where they played the character so much that they ended up being the character, becoming the character. So it could be overtaking his life where he feels like that's who he has to be now.
It's kind of like the actor Daniel Day-Lewis. Like he had to become Abraham Lincoln. He's out there still to this day trying to free the slaves. It's like, listen, they've been free. You know, the movie, the Five Towns. What was the movie that he did? It was The Butcher.
Okay.
No.
Remember this?
No.
I don't remember that one.
Right.
Yeah, like an immersive actor that he like.
With Leonardo DiCaprio? Oh, yeah, character actor. Insane. So, I actually came across this article that, by the way, Marissa, ladies, just before I pivot, as you grow older, at some point, like, do you still like the bad boys? Because there's a bad man right here. There's a bad man right here. Like,
Yeah, but there's levels to being like a bad boy.
Okay.
You know, like a bad boy that's like living life on the edge. Then you know a bad boy that's like bad news. Like there's different levels of like the bad that is attractive in a way.
ladies, teach us men what the bad boy is.
It's just more so like a man that's willing to take a risk, but also take into counter, you know, the line not to cross. You know, going far enough, but not too far where it's too late. I think that's attractive because it gives them an opportunity to show a level of being protective and dominant and taking control of crazy situations. Yeah. But I don't want somebody who's a hothead who's ready to knock somebody out because the door didn't open wide enough for someone. You know, it gets a little bit too much at some point. But I never like anybody who's also like, especially combative when we're out together. It personally makes me nervous. I'd rather just
How about you, Marissa? You're a Jersey girl?
Yeah.
Jersey Shore?
New York.
I don't know, you're hanging out with the situation out there. I don't know what's going on. How old are you now?
I'm 26.
You're 26. In your 20s was like the crazy wild like vibe, Warriors vibe, or now I met your boyfriend. He seems a little more chill.
Yeah.
Give us a little insight from a lady's perspective. Look, this guy can have any chick he wants at this point. This dude can have any chick he wants. Like, give us a little insight from what ladies look for in a man that are little wild boys.
We want a bad boy, right? We want someone that's protective and like dominant, but we don't want someone that's going to end up in jail.
Yeah.
And that we don't have anymore, right? So, you know, there's a fine line there. We don't want a hothead that's going to create drama for no reason, but we want someone that's dominant. I love dominance like that. That's like what I prefer, I would say.
So how can you tell the difference of like, all right, he's tough, he's dominant, but he's not going to end up in jail?
If they're a little
because Ryan ended up in jail. I'm just, you know,
that notice.
I guess if they're a little crazy, right? Like you could tell if someone's just heated over nothing. That's too much. You know, you want someone that's heated in the right way.
and
heated
in the right way.
And you can also determine that based on someone's values. What their values are will tell you what will trigger them. And I think that's very important to know. You have somebody who has very strong family values, you know, they protect that. That's something that's important for them.
Yes.
Versus somebody who's like, I don't care. Anything, you know, bothers me. I'm ready to take it on. I'll knock you out no matter what. It's just, you have to know when's enough.
That's actually interesting because for as crazy and as wild and as a bad boy as you say Ryan is, he's very religious. Like, he's constantly talking
but is it
about
religious about just for the audience to see that? Like, hey, even though I do these bad things, Jesus loves you. It's like, well,
I know.
You went and you kind of did X, Y, and Z. Jesus loves you, sure, but there also has to be that correlation.
So
There's
you're saying
a difference.
it can be something like a cloak masking
it could
what's
be
really going. Like how Diddy was out there after everything he's doing. He's like, listen, God's gonna look over me. It's like, dude, nobody's looking over you at this point, Diddy.
Yeah, you need help.
Same.
It's a fine line. It's a fine line, to be honest.
How about you, Padrina? What are your thoughts?
No, I'd be careful, with calling him a very religious or Christian or anything like that, because his actions speak way louder than all those little tweets and all that kind of stuff. But you're talking about dominance. I don't think dominance and bad boy have anything to do with each other. You could be an assertive, like a strong man, and that has nothing to do with bad boy. But what I stay clear from and will never be attractive to me is bad decision boys. Like bad decisions are just gross, and all of this is giving me bad decision like vibes.
Well, a lot of it has to do with growth as a man.
Yeah, he's a
you kind of got to
kid.
test the waters, because there's two stories here. By the way, here's a story right here. Malevolent traits may be the key to athletic success, says this particular story, right? So research shows that traits like narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Have you ever read The Prince, Machiavelli? Any of you guys? That's some shit right there, guys.
Are you accusing Colby right now?
Although considered... What's that?
Are you accusing Colby
of these things?
No, I'm just...
Just reading a story.
Just saying what the stats
Though
are.
considered malevolent in social settings, can aid elite athletes into achieving success. By the way, I had to double check what malevolent means. And it basically means I'm going to do some harm to your ass.
Oh.
Like, I'm going to mess you up.
Okay.
You know what this means.
Like some violence.
He's like,
I'm condoning violence, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like you can separate it. Like, I'm not intimidated or scared to be around you, where Ryan would be scared to death to be around.
But,
I am.
So they talk about how these traits are actually
I don't think he's gonna
good
be
for
violent to
athletes,
me.
especially for a fighter who steps in a ring where it's your job to do
Mess
some
him up.
violence.
Yep.
They say that the
some
downside
violence.
could negatively impact a potential athlete and coach relationship, making coaches less responsive and athletes less trusting, respectful. So there comes the good, the bad. But they're saying overall, this is, by the way, there's something called the dark triad. I don't know if you can pull that up. Dark triad in the dating world. If you go down a little bit, this is the three components of a dark triad. There's I think a triangle out there if you scroll down just a little bit. Keep going.
Down.
Keep going down.
Keep going.
The dark triad. There it is. So narcissism is characterized by grandiosity, pride, egotism,
and lack of empathy.
empathy. By the way, I got some narcissistic tendencies, but I've done this test.
Yeah,
it's a good test.
He does.
Characterized by Machiavellism, characterized by manipulation, exploitation of others, lack of morality, callousness, and extremely self-centeredness, and psychopathy, characterized by antisocial behavior, impulsivity, selfishness, callous and emotional traits, and remorsefulness. So
this makes perfect
all
sense.
these, I say all this to say, if you have all three of these things, yeah, I can understand why it can be kind of aggressive. But as the article says, these types of things actually help guys out there.
I believe it.
Like, if you're in the fighting world, if you're in the athlete world, like it's the NBA playoffs right now, like Dallas Mavericks are down 0-3. Luka has to be like, bro, I gotta fucking kill these guys. You know what it's like. So there's some truth to this, is what I'm saying, is that especially when you walk into a ring, it's your life or his, essentially. So how much truth is it to basically that doing harm to others and understanding that it's him or me that's coming out with $1 million or $10 million or the belt, whatever, actually motivates you? How much truth is into the story, you think?
There's definitely a lot of truth to it, but you have to have that light switch where you can turn it on and off. And that's probably the difference is, some of these people, they forget that they're not on a camera anymore and they're in real life, and they should treat others with respect and show their values and morals out there instead of, trying to rip people apart and just be piece of shit human beings. So, I see a lot of guys that they fall, the ego gets to them. You know, they get a little fame, they get a little money. Now they start thinking they can treat people any way they want. And that's not realistic. You should be a good human being.
I love this. This
Yeah,
explains
that's
so much. This is the perfect example of what we were kind of explaining, which is like having these qualities. A little bit of these qualities can really get you into great places. You see a lot of leaders, top people with some of these qualities. But it's that fine line that as soon as you go too much of it, you lost it. And I love that it's a triangle because it's all equal. You have to have a balance of all of that. That's that fine line of the bad boy versus somebody who's actually a go-getter and knows how to get things done. So I think this is the perfect explanation of kind of what we put together when it comes to the bad boy versus like somebody where it's not too bad.
Interesting point. Right. So I want you to, we're going to shift gears in a second, but you talked about being on camera, off camera, how to maneuver, how to not maneuver. Like I could tell you that we've hung out a handful of times. When the camera's not on, you're not fighting. Total gentleman.
Yes.
Treats people with respect. The way that you comment yourself, because people will talk. Oh, I met Colby. Like we met all the cops in front of Bodega. You took a picture with all the cops. Like now all the cops are like, bro, I met Colby. That was great. Like the reputation will precede yourself. We remember that. So there's also playing a character. So again, you could just Google like Colby used to be a bad boy in the UFC. Here's this article right here where he was quote unquote how Colby Covington became UFC's biggest villain.
This
right?
was in
If you scroll down, this is
2019.
This is 5+ years ago.
Yeah.
So you've grown. Look at that bad boy right there.
Oh my gosh.
That's in the ring. So
You should have seen the other guy.
should have seen the other guy.
He went to the hospital.
Maybe, I don't know if it's even advice to Ryan, advice to either just men out there growing up, because you're 36?
Yep.
36. Ryan's 26, 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You got 10 years on this dude.
Yeah.
Like, I remember having a conversation, to be ironic, when we talked about Sneeko earlier. When I first interviewed Sneeko, how old was he?
Oh, yeah.
24? I said, bro,
24?
I look forward to seeing you when you're 30.
Yeah.
Because you're going to grow.
For sure.
That's just going to happen.
Maturity.
So advice to young men out there who are doing crazy, wild things. They're going to be 30. They're going to be 35. They're going to be 40 one day. You're no longer that dude right there. You've grown.
Yeah.
So advice to the even Ryan Garcias of the world, or the young men out of the world, about growth and going from being, I say this all the time, you have to go from being a boy to being a fuck boy to a fuck man to becoming a man.
Oh.
Yeah.
So talk to men about that growth.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between being a man and being the man, and he's still young. I don't want to like paint a picture like he's such a bad person. Everything he does is irredeemable, but he's gonna learn. You have to sometimes fall before you're gonna learn your lessons in life, and he's still in his 20s. So I was an idiot when I was 22. I made a lot of bad decisions, but as I got older, I realized who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a man of faith. I wanted to have my platform stand for the people that I care about the most, which is, first responders, law enforcement, and the Trump family. Those are the people that I feel like really care about America, and they're the backbone of the country. So,
when did you kind of have that switch? When was that switch for you? When you were in your bad boy phase and then you started realizing some of those things, what was that switch? Was there a moment? Was there a fight? What kind of made that turn for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was mainly like when I was in college, just doing dumb college things. In the frat sorority life, you do things that you regret, but that's what life's all about, is learning from those things. But as far as career-wise, like I've just turned everything up to 11. Like I realize when I go on camera and I'm at these fights, like I need to be an entertainer because it's show business. So. I turn it up to 11. I'm not afraid to say the things that are going to hurt people's feelings, because a lot of them, they're all true. Everything I say is true, but it's just brutally honest truth, and people don't want to hear the brutal honest truth. Like people don't want to know that Hunter Biden's fucking his dead brother's ex-wife. People don't want to know he's a drug addict, but these are truth, it's facts. But I'm mean. I said some mean words, but I get locked in a cage to kill people, and they can kill me if they want to.
There's I'll say one thing to that, because it's so true what he said. That one of the things that resonated with me was, college, doing some crazy things. For you guys out there, I went to college in the early 2000s. Did you go to Oregon? Where'd you go?
Oregon State.
Oregon State.
Yeah.
So you're a Beaver.
Beaver.
That's right.
Damn, sharp.
I'm a Seminole. Yeah, I know what's up.
You know what's up.
But thank God social media was not around when I was at Florida State University in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Because, they say that your brain doesn't develop till you're 25 years old or whatever it is, your frontal cortex.
Yeah.
you're going to do some dumbass shit when you're in college, and you're supposed to. Yeah. You're supposed to get drunk and throw up and be like, damn, I probably shouldn't have drank that many beers. Oh my God, I probably shouldn't have fucking driven drunk. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Oh my God, I probably shouldn't have picked a fight with that guy in the bar because he beat the shit out of me. You're going to learn some lessons, but you're going to get better for it. But the difference is now those lessons, they're on camera. Yeah. And as they say, the internet is forever. So when you were doing things out there in Oregon State, beating people's asses, nobody knows about these things these days. When I was at Florida State, nobody sees these things. But to the Ryan Garcias of the world, everything he does is on the internet. Yeah. Everything that you young guys do is on the internet. And as they say, the internet is undefeated. So be careful what you're doing out there. Listen to Colby and make wise decisions. And you said there's a difference between being a man and the man. Wise words never spoken. Okay. How you doing, Laura?
Cool.
Chilling?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need your help on this one. Marissa?
Here.
She's here for it. She's going to get the rope. So let's talk about the money. So, you don't do this for free, right? So there's, in everything in life, there's a risk and reward. You're not stepping into a ring just because you do it for fun. You do it for a big payday. But not everybody gets these big paydays in any profession. The elite, the 1% of athletes are the ones making the money. Right? They're the ones holding the belt. So in the UFC, I want to talk about two things. UFC pay, and then really what Colby does with his money. Like, I want the audience to understand, hey, this is how Colby has managed his money, because you know that sometimes the athletes, the money you make in your 20s and 30s is going to have to last you until your 80s and 90s a lot of times, right? So let's start with the UFC. Dana White. A couple of years ago, I remember... Do you remember when Jake Paul was trolling Dana White? Do you remember all that?
Of course.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, my thoughts were, Jake wasn't in the right there. Dana White's given so many great opportunities to young fighters that never would have had these opportunities otherwise. He's given the biggest platform so you can get these massive sponsors. And then it's kill what you eat in the UFC. Like, you're not going to make money unless you're showing value and you're bringing in numbers to the UFC. Why should you make money otherwise? You don't deserve to make money if you're not making them money.
Interesting.
It's a shared partnership. We're independent contractors. So I think all that was... I don't think Jake was in the right, and Dana White's changed a lot of lives, including mine. He brought a broke blue collar kid from Oregon. Now I'm a multimillionaire. So I mean, I love Dana White. I love the UFC, and they do great by their fighters.
Like you said, you're a company man. I like
company
that.
Man. And I love the company.
So here's this was 2022. Jake Paul. He said the following. Nat, if you want to read that.
Yeah, it says no major sports organization pays their athletes poorly as Dana White and UFC. If you don't see that, then you are one of the Dana sheeps. They keep talking about selling out 21 events in a row, but never talking about raising fighters' pay, giving the healthcare and fair revenue split.
Okay, so we just talked about Ryan Garcia a second ago about how he's trolling. Jake Paul, arguably one of the greater trolls out there, but that's coming from him, and obviously he's trying to take eyeballs away from UFC. He's doing his boxing thing, respect to him. But now you have Sean Strickland, UFC fighter. You've said some words about him. Go to the top of this article. Sean Strickland admits UFC pay is quote unquote utter garbage. And in a back and forth with Mike Perry, I advocate for better pay for me and the entire roster. So he's out there basically calling out Dana White. I mean, here's what I will say, because I'm not in this world. Is there a better face of a league than Dana White? I'm not even talking about the pay. I'll let you talk about the pay and comment on that. As far as representing the brand, I mean, it's the NBA Finals right now. We just saw Adam Silver out there kind of sitting down with Stephen A. Smith and everything on camera. Yeah, he's no David Stern. Roger Goodell, NFL. I don't know if he's beloved how Dana White is beloved. I can't even tell you who the Major League Baseball commissioner is or the hockey commissioner is, but I'm more of a basketball and football guy in UFC. So I know he's beloved. But here you have Sean Strickland saying this. Thoughts on what Sean Strickland is saying? Because he's not just some random troll like Jake Paul. He's a fighter who's a champion at one point, right? Thoughts on this?
My thoughts are, Sean changed his life, so he's kind of hypocritical to be saying this. Now he lives in like a really nice, like mansion style type house, has great cars and has money in the bank. So who is he to say this? He's literally being a hypocrite too. Like he's just talking about the guys that just start in the UFC. He's talking about the 10-10 pay. Yeah, that's when you just get your first fight in the UFC. Oh. Let's talk about what he's making now. He's making guaranteed at least $500,000 to $1.5 million in that range.
Yeah, interesting. Because if you could punch in, Alicia, talk about that. Because everything is nuanced. It's not like, well, I make no money and I make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Go down to the actual picture, Alicia, and punch in on that. This 10-10 thing.
Yeah,
explain
10-10. That's like the starting fee, which they raised it. It's like 14 and 14 now. That's for your first fight in the UFC. You get paid $10,000 to show, $10,000 to win. When I started in the UFC like 12 years ago, I've been to the UFC about 11, 12 years. It was 6 and 6. I got paid $6,000 to show, $6,000 to win my first UFC fight. So people
Thanks,
really,
Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Biden actually help fighters.
Yeah. But that money, like, as a first-time fighter in the UFC, you haven't made the UFC any business. You haven't done anything for the company. So why do you think you deserve to get handouts and get paid? If you go 0-2 on your first contract, you don't win any fights. How should you ever deserve to get paid or get healthcare? You did nothing for the company. You added no value, and you made the company no money. So Sean's in the wrong here again, and I don't know why he's so mad about the UFC. They made him a millionaire too. So he got molested as a kid by his dad allegedly. So why is he talking bad about the UFC? He's from a broken home. Now he's in a fucking nice home.
So, see, this is the stuff we don't know. It used to be 6-6, then it was 10-10, now it's 14-14. 14 for just a fight and 14 for a win, right?
Yeah, 14 to show up and fight, 14 to win.
So, but you also made a really good point. You said, hey, look, what have you done for the league? And if you just show up and lose, you don't deserve much of anything. You have to kind of prove yourself. But I wanted to go deeper because when Jake Paul says nobody gets paid worse than the UFC fighters, I said, is that true? Is that not true? Because you can actually check the numbers. So here's this article right here that talks about
20 highest
athlete pay. Not this one, because this is the highest paid UFC fighters, which is Connor. There's another one that's just highest paid athletes. See if you can find that one.
Let me see if I can find it.
So while we're pulling that up, so Connor's made a ton of money. See, do you have that one? Alicia, do you have that article about highest paid athletes?
I don't think so, but I can find it.
Okay. Let me see if I could send that to you real quick. While she's pulling that up. Highest paid athletes. Do you have that article? So, because UFC is not in the top 5, but they're not the last. They're actually number 8. Pull this up. Number 1 is, of all things, Formula 1.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Elisa, do you have that article?
No.
Okay.
Fuck Formula One.
Fuck Formula 1. Why is that?
Because they're holding out. They're not letting American owners be able to get in on that one. I think the Bush family tried to get on it, and they rejected them. I don't know if you just saw that article yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah, they don't want any American owners, league owners in the league.
You know the reason for that?
They didn't say a reason. They just said no. We don't want it because it's more like a European thing.
I was gonna say they just had one in Monaco.
Yeah.
They had a big one in Monaco.
That was
Well, they had
the biggest
one in
Miami,
Vegas,
and then
Miami.
they had one in Vegas too.
Lisa,
Yeah.
check Slack. It's the latest article in there. So, number 1 is, this is what sport makes the most money. Number 1 is Formula 1. They make almost $11 million a year.
It's like it's
11 million. That's it.
This is
Chump
average.
change.
Do we have this
Are
article
you
or
talking
no,
about the
guys?
athletes?
I just slacked it to the live event.
You talking about the
she's not in
athletes or the actual racers?
These are the athletes.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Number 2 is NBA. You know how much the NBA makes?
How much?
I mean, their league salaries, even for a bench player, is like $1 million or $2 million.
$10 million
Yeah.
for the average NBA. It is average salaries. Nat, here's the article right there. So, do you have that pulled up?
Yeah.
But UFC is number 8. You know how much the average UFC fighter makes? $150,000. So here it is right here. Do we have this? Yes. Okay, scroll down. We're gonna go rapid fire here. So what athletes make the most money? The average Formula 1 racer salary is almost $11 million. Number 2 is NBA, almost $11 million. We're gonna go rapid fire. Keep going. 3 is baseball at almost $5 million. 4
Hockey.
$3.5 million.
Football.
5 football player, 2.8.
Golfer.
6 golfer, 1.5 almost. 7 soccer player. So this is the first salary below $1 million. And there's UFC, $150,000. Then NASCAR, $112,000, and then number 10, pro boxer salary. Talk about boxing.
That's surprising.
$50,000, $51,000. And Floyd Mayweather, they talked about there. So what sports were left off? Soccer. I don't see there.
They were on there. They were
Was soccer on there?
Yeah, it
7.
was.
Yeah.
It was under down. Oh, go
Okay.
back.
Was hockey on there?
Yes, hockey was on.
Okay.
He was on there.
Go back.
Bowling wasn't on there, guys.
Bowling wasn't on.
But $150,000 for a UFC fighter. Fair, not fair? Should they be paid as much as NBA, NFL, MLB? UFC's been around since what, 1993, I think. Some of these sports have been around for freaking 100 years. Baseball's been around since, when did Babe Ruth play? Well over 100 years ago, calling his shot.
Yeah.
Overall, how can UFC fighters make more money other than just winning?
Yeah. Become valuable, with social media, show that you can draw numbers and get clicks to the UFC page, like show that you're going to do business and generate engagement, because engagement's everything in the social media space and making money for companies. So, if they can't add that value, then they don't deserve to be paid.
So, what I find interesting about the UFC? So, I'm at Bodega the other day, right? Shout out to Bodega in South Beach. By the way, we have a bunch of locations all South Florida, best tacos. Anyway, and apparently this pretty famous football player came in, and I didn't recognize him.
Oh.
And obviously, if Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes walks in, this guy was a pretty big linebacker. Okay, not a Pro Bowler, but a good player. And why do you think I didn't recognize him?
Because he's not a star.
Yes, and he wears a fucking helmet every game. And you wouldn't ever see a guy's face.
Yeah.
One thing that I'll say about UFC, look, in baseball, you're wearing a helmet. Basketball is a league of stars because you're just seeing their face. LeBron, Kevin Durant, Luka, Giannis. UFC is built on stars and you see their face. People know Colby's face. It's not ever covered up by a helmet. So this is your moneymaker. These are your moneymakers, but this is also your moneymaker right there. So you talk about building a brand. UFC fighters have an opportunity to their face is on camera.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of that? Of your face just being everywhere on the big screen? There's money to that, yeah?
Absolutely. There's tons of money. That's where all the money's at, is in the brand deals. I've gotten some great brand deals over the year with Bang. My bookie, it's a sports betting website. They pay me way too much money. I love it. It's amazing. Actually, they don't pay me enough money. What the fuck am I saying? Never say that ever. Don't go full dumb.
A sweetheart deal, my bookie. That's the one where you're greeting nerds and virgins.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
So you're making brand money. Let's shift from UFC. Let's talk about your money. You've made millions in the UFC. What I want to know is, all right, how does Colby Covington manage his money? Because I learned this the hard way. There's a difference between gross and net. I remember the first party I threw in South Beach in my former days. It's all right, cool, bro. We threw a Super Bowl party. We threw a party on a roof. We made $20,000 in a night. I was like, hell yeah. All right, we got to pay the bartenders. We got to pay for the liquor reps. We got to pay for the ice. We got to pay for security. Oh, by the way, the servers, we got to tip her out. Me and my 2 partners, guys, we're splitting $1,000. What? And that's when I learned the word gross is fucking gross. And I learned about net. So talk to me about net fighter pay. So you step in the ring. We just talked about 10-10 or 14-14. You win $1 million, bang, purse. Now you got to pay what? Taxes, managers, agents, training camp, food. You got to eat healthy, everything that's going on with that, nutrition, and plus you got rent, life expenses. How does a fighter manage their money and make sure that they don't get broke because it needs to last them forever?
Yeah, I mean, for fighters, it's tough because all of them get hit in the head, so they're already dumb as it is, and that's not helping. That's not helping anymore. But yeah, you have to take into consideration like taxes. Like you make $1 million, the IRS is going to be looking for their handout for at least $400,000. You know, you're in that tax bracket where you.
Thank God we're in the no state income tax state of Florida. Thank God. Thank you, Donald Trump.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank Donald Trump.
Ron DeSantis. So they're hitting the head. You gotta know that they're gonna take a large chunk in taxes. What else?
You know, I've learned from a lot of past fighters and just past athletes who have spent all their money on cars and houses and all this like expensive stuff that it fades away in time and holds no real value. That, you know, don't spend your money. Be smart. You got to diversify your money. You know, I put it in so many different places. I think real estate is obviously the smartest investment these days because, you know, it's going to grow income over years and it's going to add value. People keep coming in and flooding these borders, so these people are going to need places to live. So
Great
real
perspective. The more people you let in the country, they need housing.
Right? So, you know, real estate's big, you know, being in the stock market, having a good advisor in that regard is smart. Like a money market, I'm in a money market, you know, it's making like, I think 12% like every year, which is huge. You know, you put $1 million in, you're making 120,000 every year just sitting there. So, you know, you got to be diversified. You got to be smart and then not spend your money every day, like to go out and, you know, pay for all your friends' dinners and bottles in the club. Like none of that stuff is going to matter. That stuff will fade away and those people won't be with you when you're broke.
So when you're coming up and, you know, your income is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, what were those investments like during those times? Because now you're in a different place, right? And you have more access and you have more of that. But when you were in the come up phase, what was kind of the things that you really focus on with your money? You know, it's really easy to get tempted to spend it in places when you're around people and you're in that come up, right? All eyes are on you. What was kind of some of your investments that you were doing while you were in your come up phase?
So in my come up phase, you know, I definitely made, you know, some bad decisions. You know, it was more about trying to look cool and look like I had money, you know, buy the Rolexes, buy the Bentley car and buy all the nice stuff, you know. But when I started being smart, then I bought a house. Then, you know, I started putting money into cryptocurrencies. Like I'm big into Bitcoin. I think that holds a lot of value and you know, it keeps steadily progressing upwards. And then, you know, the money market is smart. I found a good investment advisor. And then, you know, just being smart, you know, not living a lavish lifestyle, living within your means, you know, don't forget where you came from. You know, I know where I came from. I came from the blue collar trailer parks, so I don't want to go back there. I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep progressing and securing my financial future.
So I'm friends with a lot of NBA guys specifically. And the average NBA career, I want to say, is about 5 years. These guys get pensions. One of my cousins is an NFL agent. He represents some pretty big guys. Those guys, at any point, boom, knee, career done. Wow, good, you know, see you later. I think that career is 2 to 3 years. You know, I've learned the following, and this goes for anybody out there that's starting to make money. 1 car, 1 house, 1 watch, 1 chain, 1 chick. So
1 chick?
The last part is kind of hard to deal with, Colby. So that's why choose wisely. You know what I'm talking about right there. But you talked about learning your lessons. It's so easy. You know, I worked in the commission world. I made, you know, you're talking about my first year, I made $5,000 my first year. My second year, I made $100,000 as a 26-year-old kid. That's a big deal. Yeah. All of a sudden, 10 years in, dude, I'm getting commission checks for $100,000 in a month. I'm like, what? Okay. Dude, it's so easy to be like, oh, shit, we're going to the club tonight.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, like, all right, cool. I can drop $5,000 on this, or I can put this in, whether it's a money market account or an index fund account or buy a Bitcoin, and delayed gratification. You said you made some mistakes. And that's all good. You want to have some fun. What was that one mistake you're like, oh, I can't fucking believe it. How much was dinner last night? $4,000 for these? Nah. What was that story?
Yeah, it was like, you know, after my first UFC fight where I made 6 and 6, all my friends thought I was a millionaire because I was on TV in the UFC. They're like, you're a UFC fighter, you're a millionaire now.
You made $12,000.
I made $12,000. And I paid out like 6 or 7 just to my coaches and
taxes.
And taxes.
Right, exactly.
So, you know, I had like 6 or 7 left over, and I had like 20 of my closest friends from high school, and you know, I picked up a check. It was like $2,000 or $3,000 dinner, and then I'm like, what the fuck, dude? My whole paycheck's gone. Now I have to go fight again, like immediately. I can't sit back and pick a good spot to fight. I have to go out there and risk my body and my brain just to make another paycheck to make ends meet. So that was the stupidest thing I ever did. Like I was living way out of my means. What am I doing paying for? Just because they're my friends, you know, like they're not paying for dinners for me, but I'm spotting this 20-person dinner and, you know, it's 90% of my net worth. So it's like fucking the stupidest decision.
The one thing I'll tell you, bro, thank God that happened at 6 and 6, not 600 and 600.
Yeah.
So, you know, start the lesson small. So last point with this, dude, you made it. You know, multimillionaire, you got your faces everywhere. You got a belt, you got, you know, fans, you've got your Donald Trump's favorite fighter. Like, you've made it. But there's a lot of fighters out there that are never even in your league. What do you see out there, like the downside to getting into this, where it's like, yeah, there's guys I wrestled with at Oregon State, or there's guys I came up with in the league that, you know, I used to room with. You know, we all know the story, but you were roommates with Masvidal, all that kind of stuff with that. But there's guys that never made it. There's guys that never made $1 million. What are these guys doing now?
You know, they're brain dead, and, you know, they're working basic jobs, you know, and I think that's what I would tell a lot of the Gen Z kids these days is learn, you know, a skill for trade, you know, trade labor. And if you aren't afraid to sweat and get your hands dirty, that's going to be something that's going to make you the most money in the future. So, I mean, for fighters, you need to have a backup plan, but they don't ever have a backup plan. They just think they're going to get rich and get famous and be the best fighter in the world, and they're going to set their lives up. But it's not like that. Like you said, less than 1%, maybe 0.5% of fighters actually make it and do well in this business to survive. So, you know, be smart with your money and you know, have a good backup plan, because it might not work out for you.
Last thing, why don't they have a backup plan? Because, you know, whether it's the NBA, look, just do the math. There's 30 teams, 32 teams, 15 on a roster. It's 500 guys. All right? How many guys are in the UFC active fighting that are making it? A couple hundred, maybe?
A couple hundred.
Right? Not even that, right?
Not even that. Like,
right.
Maybe 20 or 30.
That are like making
maybe.
it.
Yeah. There's like maybe 700 people on the roster. There's probably like 15 to 20, maybe 30 max that are making like good money, significant money.
Significant money. Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is it on the fighter? Is it on their family? Is it on their friends? Is it on the league to be like, listen, bro, you might not be here a while, so save that money? Who do you think it's on the most?
I would say the family, because the manager, of course, they're just going to throw their fighters into battle. They don't care about their health. They just care about getting a paycheck off them. They could go get knocked out and die and get brain damage. The manager's going to be showing up, hey, where's my 20, 30%? Right. So, you know, it's definitely on the family to intervene, and you got to trust your family and listen. But also it's on yourself more than anything, because you have to know deep down, like when you go to training every day, are you getting dominated? Are you winning every second of every round? Like, what's your training and sparring sessions like? Are you dominant where, like, you know, you're one of the best fighters? Or are you a dummy every day where you're getting beat up in practice? So that's important. You know, I knew I never lost any rounds. I was beating everybody up every day. I knew that I was destined to be great, and I knew that I could create my own destiny. So, you know, I was smart with the way I went about my business.
Yeah, some of these. Go ahead, Pedrino.
No, I was going to say that the messaging, the thing is, you're giving sound advice, right? You're saying, hey, have a backup, have a trade, whatever it is. Somebody that has made it, one of those, like, you know, half percentage people that you're talking about, there's very few. You're giving good advice to the youth, where people are just saying, follow your dreams, follow your passions, and you can make it. Yeah, it's good to have passions, dreams, goals, and all those things, and you could work towards them, but you can't think that's it, all or nothing bust, and then that's what you turn into, like one of these, like, I've fought so much, I'm brain dead, now I have no backup, and then I'm like, you know, homeless or who knows what else. But it's more, I think it's a lot to do with the messaging of like real expectations, like actually, you know, have something for yourself, and not necessarily just college and a, you know, a degree, but maybe a trade, maybe some kind of skill, like learn, get good at something, because it's a very small percentage that were able to do what you did. So I think it's very wise that you're giving that advice.
You know, the first UFC fight was in 1993. You know, you hear NBA players these days, like Charles Barkley, even, you know, these guys in their whole career, maybe they made 100 million, maybe. Dr. J, if you want to go further away, now Jerry West just died, one of the greatest NBA players of all time. He's the greatest executive of all time. I mean, these guys were literally playing for popcorn and free socks. Now you got guys making 50 mil a year. So my prediction is, you know, the George St. Pierre's of the world, the guys who have paved the way, the Chael Sonnens of the world. He was on the pod. He's an amazing talker. He's also from, I want to say, the West Coast. No, he's a great talker.
That's my boy from Oregon.
He is really talented.
Uncle Chael.
The guys that have paved the way, you know, maybe they didn't make the $100 million deals, but you know, you're that next generation. You weren't fighting in the 90s or early 2000s. You're, you know, mid 2000s. this next batch of fighters, they're going to have to be like, oh, shit. They're going to get these contracts. They're going to get what's going on here. Now you see, you know, NBA players, NFL players. Patrick Mahomes signed a $500 million deal. So what my point is that the UFC's time is coming, and there's going to be time for pensions and collective bargaining agreements, and fighter pay will go up. But like you said, if you win, you'll get paid. If you don't win, sayonara. So
And that's
regardless, save that money, right?
Yeah, save that money. I mean, you don't deserve it. You know, you eat what you kill, and you know nothing's earned, nothing's deserved. You have to earn it. So, you know, if you don't win, then you know you're not going to do well and make good money for yourself in any business, because it's business. It's all about bottom line.
Yeah, it's not show friends; it's show business.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we're more than halfway through.
Wow.
We've talked UFC. We've talked fighter pay. We've talked crazy Ryan Garcia. No disrespect. We've learned a lot about Colby.
Yep.
Now we're going to get a little spicy, ladies, because I need your help, because we're going to talk politics.
Politics.
Okay?
Marissa's
So-
pumped.
Padrino, I know this is your favorite thing.
Yes.
You got into a heated argument about abortion recently.
I didn't find it heated. I call it passionate, but
Passionate. There it is. So let's have that conversation. Okay? So
let's do it.
we just talked about money. You know, I say all the time, follow the money.
Yes.
So Donald Trump, we have his favorite fighter, Colby Covington, in the house right here. After his conviction, 34 counts, he turned around and his team raised $200 million
Yeah, that was crazy.
in just a few short days. Okay, follow the money. By the way, that came from big and small donors. I think almost 100 million of it came from people just giving $25, $30, $100. Then you have people like the widow of Sheldon Adelson, the casino magnate, that just, here's $100 million check, boom. But there's a catch. There's one person whose vote that, you know, Trump would maybe love to have that isn't exactly reciprocating the love back, and that person is called Taylor Swift.
Uh-oh.
So we know that Trump and Taylor made news during the Super Bowl. That's right. And now there's a new book that just came out that's talking about The Apprentice, where he actually is singing Taylor's praises about how beautiful she is.
Oh.
So he said the following. He called her beautiful. They in this article, they said bemoans her beauty, but bemoans her being liberal. He said, I think she's beautiful, very beautiful. I find her very beautiful. I think she's liberal. She probably doesn't like Trump. I'm Trump. I hear she's talented.
Good.
I think she's very beautiful, actually unusually beautiful.
That was the quote. You
I swear to God, it's a quote. You can find the quote if you scroll down.
I thought you were just rambling.
No.
Good Trump at him.
I'm just like,
Just thought he was
scroll down,
imitating.
Yeah.
find the
There.
quote. I don't do the greatest Trump imitation.
No,
But I go back up, back up, back up.
Very beautiful.
In this
There
interview,
she is, yeah.
Okay.
I hear she's very talented. I think she's very beautiful. Actually, unusually beautiful.
I think she's liberal. She probably doesn't like Trump. I hear she's very talented. I think she's very, very beautiful. Actually, unusually beautiful. Look, Trump, whether you like him or don't like him, he's got good taste in women. Let's just get him that. No doubt.
Okay.
So, of course, people hear this. They start talking about it. Oh, my God. He thinks that Taylor Swift is beautiful. Newsflash. She is. I don't think there's anything wrong with acknowledging that. But, of course, on CNN, the talking heads, they said this about Trump. They called him creepy. So let's play this clip from CNN, where one of their political pundits, we're probably going to have to wait for this to go up. So if there's a video, just play it already so it's teed up. But she said the following. I think it's super creepy that he's talking about her beauty like this, especially given his age, and don't upset the Swifties. This is at
the writer, quote,
40 seconds
I think she's beautiful,
in.
very beautiful. I find her very beautiful. I think she's liberal. She probably doesn't like Trump. I hear she's very talented. I think she's very beautiful, actually, unusually beautiful.
So we know this part. Go to 40
Trump,
seconds.
however, clearly seemed unable to forget his bad blood with Swift over her 2020 endorsement of Joe Biden and throwing into question her political beliefs. She is, agree with me if you want to, but she is actually probably the one celebrity I think that actually has the power to move a significant number of votes.
Probably right. Yeah, I think it's a matter of now whether she would ever want to get involved. I think
So
in
Lisa,
2020, 2016, where I think
seconds is the
we talked about this a couple weeks ago, different times for celebrities to inject themselves.
I mean, I think it's creepy the way he continues to talk about how pretty women are that are significantly younger in age, very much younger. But that being said,
She's
I
mad
think that
he never called her
doesn't want to
pretty.
upset the Swifties. I think we all know what happens when
That's something ugly
when
people
we
say.
awake a
It's
giant
not
of the
creepy.
Swifties. But I think
Okay,
it's
right there. She said,
part of why we're
and that's
talking
where I
about
want to
her,
stay right there.
Matt, I mean, disagree
Thank
with
you.
me if you want to. She is actually.
I mean,
She
meanwhile,
said you don't want to
Biden
upset
isn't
the
creepy.
Swifties. You don't want to awake a giant like the Swifties. Okay.
Oh my
So there's another article out here that talks about how Trump doesn't want a war with the Swifties, or he won't win a war with the Swifties. We can pull that article
But
up.
what's the war? Because he called her beautiful? I mean, I don't.
I think in general he doesn't want to upset the Swifties.
If they-
See if you have that.
Oh, those AI pictures.
He doesn't want to.
with the freaky
He
hands.
will not win a war against the Swifties. I agree, but here's my point. Let's circle back to Colby. Colby's going to put on his political pundit hat for a second.
All right.
Okay.
It's on.
Colby, I want you to pretend for a second. You're Trump's campaign manager. All right? Colby Covington,
This is fun.
PR, guru, campaign strategist for the Donald Trump re-election campaign 2024. You know, they say if you can't beat him, join him. We know that Swift endorsed Joe Biden in 2020, and it certainly affected the election. What would you do as the campaign manager to not only win the Swiftie vote, but win the female vote to flip the election back to Donald Trump? What would you do?
Well, you know, I kind of disagree because I think Trump is the most famous figure that we've ever had in America. If you know, before I fought Tyron Woodley in Las Vegas, there were 70,000 people sitting outside in the 110-degree scorching heat of Las Vegas to wait for him to speak at his rally. So this is when, you know, Rolling Stones, who were in town, it was Donald Trump. You know, he had that place lit up. So I think Trump's a bigger star and a bigger figurehead than Taylor Swift. But, you know, the thing I love about the Trump family is they're not trying to make political enemies. They're cool with both sides, and they're respectful and they're cordial with both sides.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like, you know, the leftists that they get so angry and they just shout, you know, propaganda and fake news at you all the time, and all the smear campaigns that they do with him on the reg as well. So, you know, I would say definitely try and, you know, make peace with Taylor, you know, but I think she's sold her soul to the devil. You know, she's out there talking about the Pfizer shot is good for you, get 2 shots at once. Oh, that's so hell. How are you going to know if there's a misreaction to 1 shot if you're getting 2 at the time? You're not going to know which one. So, you know, I don't believe in Taylor Swift. I don't care what the Swifties say, and she's not a good person. I think she's evil.
Really?
Yeah.
He said it.
Travis Kelce, I think, was Mr. Pfizer. You talked about that last time.
Pfizer, yeah.
So,
Her boyfriend.
whether it's her, and I'm not even singling out the Swifties, females' votes matter. And we have some stats out there what women are interested in. And here's it: why reaching women voters might be the winning factor in the 2024 election. If you were advising the Trump campaign, what would you do to ingratiate yourself to more women to come over to Trump's side?
I don't know. I mean, women to me is not just like the young, like Swifties. It's it's the moms, it's people like that. I mean, if he just speaks about truth when it comes to what the left or the progressives are trying to do to children, I think the mama bears rise up, and we don't want that. We don't want to stand for that. So just taking that approach of like, hey, look, I want better for your kids. I want better for your family. So I don't think it's a long stretch. I know where you want me to go. I know where you want me to say like, hey, ease up on the abortion to get all the young kids.
I don't want you to go anywhere.
I don't ever, I'm never going to be cool with like people killing their children for votes. That's never going to be okay for me. But I think the angle of just, hey, look, they're trying to trans your kids. Do you want that? Hey, they're literally keeping secrets from you at home. Hey, they're trying to teach them this in schools. If they go that approach, I think the mama bears will rise up. And even not a mom. Like I think any woman has this instinct to protect children. At least they should. Again, you brought up Chelsea Handler. She has the instinct to, who knows what her instincts are. But But yeah, I would go with that approach, just speaking on truth and facts. I don't think the calling somebody beautiful is creepy. I just think that they just find anything that he does, somehow wrong. But yeah, I think that would be my approach.
Marissa,
Just
what would you
speak on
do
truth.
for Trump to win the female vote? By the way, we're going to show you some stats in a second. What would you do? How would you advise him?
I don't know if I'm mistaken, but I think a lot of females like Trump. I mean, Trump has my vote already, and I agree. I don't think what he said was creepy at all. I think calling somebody beautiful is not creepy. I don't see where that position is. I know I'm a big Trump person, so I don't know if it's just me, but a lot of females I associate with are. So, I mean, I think he's got my vote. He's got a lot of females' votes.
How would you ladies feel if Joe Biden said something like that?
It's called Taylor Swift creepy? Or
No,
it's called Taylor Swift beautiful?
Super,
Sorry.
super beautiful. Unusually beautiful. And did his little smirk at the end.
I didn't see it. That's the thing. He says weird stuff like that, though, like the unusually beautiful. I don't even know. I wouldn't use that word. How would I feel? I don't even think it would come out of him. He's not cognizant enough to like come out with a sentence, and he probably wouldn't say it. He'd just like smell her or something, or
or get in the shower with her, like
yeah. I mean, like that's way more problematic to me. Is like showering with your adult daughter than anything else. So yeah,
She was a child then.
And smelling her would be creepy.
She was a child then.
super.
Yeah.
That's better,
I
right?
think a lot of this is a big opportunity for Trump, if he wanted to. If there's one thing about him is he knows how to get eyes from the media. He knows how to bring that in. And I think if he really wanted to make that a priority and get the Swifties on his team, I'm sure he would initiate something for that. If that's saying, hey, Taylor, I would love to have a sit down with you. I would love to, do, even if people can see them in the same room together, just that photo, I think could make an impact in a way. But again, that's if he really wants to, or if she really wants to, or kind of what's behind the scenes of that. At the end of the day, if he wants to win women's vote, you just solve for what women need today. We need real men in the world, right? We need different things that the communities aren't giving to us, right? We solve for all the parents in the world, all the mothers who need help. I think that's an area where he can come in, and essentially he is doing that with some of the things that he's doing. So I think it's just a matter of what he really wants to market. I think he's a marketing genius. Trump is a marketing genius. Sometimes I'm scrolling, I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Trump. It's just Trump being Trump.
Did you see what he did with Logan Paul yesterday?
Yes, I saw that at Mar-a-Lago. That was at Mar-a-Lago.
And I don't think Logan Paul was really in the Trump camp.
Yeah, I didn't think so. That's why when I saw that, I was a little
That's the kind of stuff
confused.
that's going to pull. Like, that's the kind of the young kids or whatever. I don't know about Taylor. Like, the thing is it like the Rock situation where they endorsed him 4 years ago, but then now they're probably backpedaling? Do you think it's going to be as loud of an endorsement? Because remember, even Cardi B, there was a few people like that that are kind of like, wait, what? And so I don't know if that's, you know.
I don't know. I don't see really Taylor really a political voice. I see her. She does her thing. She does have the political moments. But I don't see her standing up really vouching and telling the reason why. She's just kind of a face, and behind the scene is what they're marketing. So I would love to even hear what her really views
Send those
are.
three things to Alicia right there.
She's big on like social justice stuff, which makes it seem like she's really left. And so, yeah, it's all the things that like the right is bad at, which is all the social justice stuff she's super loud about. She's like super LGBT, which, you know, somehow is, you know, conservatives, you know, don't align with that in a lot of things. So
I think if you look at what women are most concerned about, it's everyone's concerned about the economy. Everyone's concerned about the cost of living. But women are overwhelmingly concerned about, ready for it, abortion and reproductive rights.
Save the
you know, when we
babies.
met at Model Volleyball, and by the way, come next year. It'll be great. I think.
I'll be fine.
Every single woman, I said, what's your number one issue? They're like, abortion, abortion, abortion. I was like, not the economy, not the border, not immigration. Something about these ladies, they don't want to be told what to do with their body. And I know you have very strong feelings about this. So abortion, cost of living, and guns remain the top issue 24. This is for women. Now, I know there's a lot of debate these days about what's a woman. These are just actual fucking women.
Okay, thank God.
The abortion is the number one issue. Cost of living. Now, I don't understand. Everyone has to pay bills every month. I don't understand how abortion is the number one thing for women, because not every woman has to be getting, like, everyone has to pay bills. Everyone has rent to pay. Everyone's something going on. Not everyone's getting abortion. But it's such a big thing for these women. And there's a couple other polls that I gave you.
it's big for women that they want to, or it's a big issue, like for me, that it's a big issue because I don't want it. Because that's
Good.
the thing. Because
Correct.
all those women that you were speaking to, all of them were, give me my abortion, my body, my choice, or they were like, hey, I don't support killing kids.
Great point. I didn't ask them if they were pro-choice or pro-life, but they said that was their number one issue. By the way,
that doesn't necessarily mean.
And here's the reason that I'm bringing up the Taylor Swift thing and all that. It's like, who really gives a shit about the Taylor Swift vote? But if you want Trump to win, he's running away with everything other than the whole abortion issue. On economy, he's up 20%. On immigration and the border, he's up 20%. On mental and physical health, up 20%. By the way, what a difference 4 years will make, because Biden beat Trump on mental stability 4 years ago, oddly enough. But abortion, that's the only thing of the key issues that Biden is up. So if Trump, watch out for this issue come election season, because I think you're absolutely right. Trump's a businessman. You know, you saw that, and he's a deal maker. You saw that Ron DeSantis came out last year and made a 6-week abortion ban, and Trump said, "Yeah, I don't think so about that." And he came out and basically said, 16 weeks? Kind of seems favors me. Trump, if he can thread this needle, you ready for it? Where he can appease his base, because his base is very pro-life. And look, Trump's base is not going anywhere. The whole I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, I literally think he could do that and they would still vote for it, straight up. He has to appease his base, but also somehow get those, you talked about like the mama bears, and you know, you're not going to get the woke, fringe, feminist women, you're not going to get those people. But the independent vote is up for sale. And, you know, the soccer moms and, you know, single women moms who are actually reasonable, their vote is, that's who's going to decide this election. If he can kind of figure out, all you got to do is pill out 10,000 votes in Philly, in Detroit, in Atlanta. That's what it's come down to. And I actually, because everyone knows that he's the economy guy. Everyone knows he's the border guy. The abortion thing, if you can swing that, do you have that last stat about who votes more liberal versus who votes more conservative?
But Adam, what's the fix here? So if he just says more weeks, okay, instead of 6 weeks, he didn't agree with that. Go to 15, go to 20, whatever it is. Biden is always going to be all the way full term. So he's never going to win. So why would you concede any ground on that? It doesn't make any sense. Like that idea of I'm just going to gain a little bit more. If that's your biggest issue, you're not going to move over to Trump. So I just don't, you need to stand your ground, stand for something, fall for anything, stand your ground on this thing. Which again, I disagree with him when he said with DeSantis, if you think it's a life at every single stage. So I definitely didn't like his response to DeSantis about it, because I agree with DeSantis more than Trump. But I don't understand.
You'd agree with DeSantis on what more than Trump?
The 6 week, that I didn't like Trump's response, the rebuttal that he thought that it was ridiculous. I don't think you're going to win anybody by just giving them a couple more weeks. Somebody that's like super my body, my choice, pro-choice, all this kind of stuff. You're going to tell me if you go from 6 to 15 to whatever it is, 35, full term, they're not caring about a few weeks. They want you to be the all or nothing, the abortion guy. And Biden is always going to be that over Trump. He's always going to be the one that is looked at as like the women's, reproductive rights and all that women's health care and all that garbage.
That's his only pull, though. That's the only way, and women make a lot of noise. So it's the perfect way.
But what is he going to do? So
it's the perfect way for him to get eyes, though.
For Biden.
For Biden, yeah.
Right.
Because he has
that's
nothing
what I'm saying.
else to really offer in the other area.
Right, but so if he's dominating there, I'll give him that. Congratulations, Biden. You're the better baby killer. So then Trump, he gives him, he concedes to a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And what? Are people really going to jump the leftist chip? No, they're not going to do anything. They're still going to be like, oh, that's nice. You gave me till 20, but you know what? I want all the way to when I'm there, like about to push the baby out. You know what? I push the baby out, but I still, because that's what they're doing in Pennsylvania. They've done things like that already. Full term, already born. You could just, so those things are happening, and there's some people that want that, and I don't think that they're going to switch
my question
over a few weeks.
Because you bring up a great point, the whole abortion issue. You could be pro-life, and it can be one of your major issues, or you can be pro-choice, it can be one of your major issues.
I would fall into that camp.
So here's my question for you: is abortion, whether you're very pro-life, is it one of your top 3 issues?
It's a huge issue, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I would say right now, yeah, it's that, the border, obviously the economy, but no, abortion is a huge one. I mean, to me, again, I think we're going to look back at this time and go, oh my gosh, we killed people the way that they look back on the Holocaust, and oh my gosh, we killed Jews. And the same way we look back on slavery and say, oh my gosh, we treated people like that.
And I totally understand what you're saying.
So what I'm saying is that is why it's a large issue for me, is because that is my perspective.
Got it. Marissa, Is abortion and female reproductive rights a top 3 issue for you?
Yes, but I think my stance is a little different.
What's your stance?
Although personally I'm pro-life, are you saying that there's never an exception to...
We can really do this whole thing, and I can explain to you, and you can get there. But yes, the point is, to me, it's a life. So what exceptions do you want to give? Do you want to do rape, incest, or life of the mother?
Children. So like,
Life of the
yes,
mother?
rape and children. I think that's what changed my stance, was like seeing a 12-year-old girl being pregnant by her father. I think that's sick.
Okay.
So I think there's
So-
exceptions.
So what I don't want to do is have an entire abortion debate right now, because we've done that. But I do want to understand that this is a
But
top 3 issue for you. But yours
half
is...
a percent. Do you think that the rest is bad? That's the percentage of that is less than 1%. It's like less than 0.5%. So if you'll take that, is the rest, off the table? Is the rest still
personally,
alive?
I'm a pro-life, but I'm also a 26-year-old. So at this point, if it ever happened,
Yeah.
it would just happen. But I see the other side. But I think the reason it's so important to women is because women feel there's exceptions to the rule. As a woman, I think there is exceptions. I do.
Yeah.
As much as that's not my personal stance, I think, there's a lot of...
But this is
bad things
perfect.
that
This is
happen.
actually the conversation I want to have. You are pro-life with very few exceptions, if any, and this is a top 3 issue for you. You are pro-choice, and it's a top 3 issue for you.
No, she said pro-life. She just
Sorry,
said,
you are...
She just
no,
said for her,
No, I'm
not
pro-life,
not
personally.
pro-life, but you do have exceptions.
I don't
in
think...
it.
I think going full term is disgusting.
Gotcha.
I agree
so,
with you. It's nasty.
but it is a top 3 issue for you, and
No,
it is a top 3 issue for you.
Did you say it was top 3 for you?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
Oh, she did. Nat, is this a top 3 issue for you?
For
Just whether you don't even have to answer if you're pro-life or pro-choice. Is abortion a top 3 issue for you?
for me personally, no.
It doesn't have to be now. You can say whatever.
Yeah,
you
for me
want.
personally, no, because
Okay.
that's not where I'm at in my life, where I'm like actively looking to have I'm not active for an opportunity for me to have an abortion to
She ain't
arise.
active, y'all.
So for
Okay.
me, that's not a priority. There's
Yeah.
other things, but if I was a woman who was more maybe doing that would be a priority. Now, I do think it is a priority in general because there's this big debate on where does that fine line, and I would like to at least come to a solution to it.
Okay.
But for me personally,
We all
it's
just
not.
acknowledge that Nat is now a born-again virgin, and she tried to just make
No,
that case
it's not
here on
that.
the SOSCAST with Colby in the house.
No.
The point is this.
No,
for
I don't.
women, abundantly, this is a massive, massive issue. This is technically their number 1 issue. For every other voter, for us dudes, it's the economy, stupid. Like, the economy, I don't even need to ask Colby. I'm just going to make this assumption. The economy,
The border.
cost of living, the border, crime, inflation are all your major issues, yes?
I like that better.
I think the number 1 issue right now has got to be strength too. We have such a weak, incompetent leader. Look at Russia; they're putting submarines out in our ocean,
Cuba.
right next to Florida.
Yeah.
in the Atlantic. So
Yeah.
it's like
I'm
we need
scared.
a strong leader that's going to stand up, not someone that's on the world stage as a laughing stock. He's literally we're literally seeing the destruction of America in real time. So I just hope that Trump can undo all the nasty policies that Biden has put us through.
Brother, I am right there with you, and because we're men, we're not thinking of abortion. It's not one of our top 3 issues, correct? At
hope
the very
not.
least.
For sure.
But women, it is. And all I'm saying is, this right here, reaching women voters might be the winning factor in 2024 election. Imagine if Trump can get a little sit down with Logan Paul, massive influencer, if he can somehow get a little something, sit down with Taylor Swift,
Yeah, that could be
this
it.
thing's in the bag.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I think it's
Okay.
a sad state in America where a sit down with Taylor Swift, which should hold no weight, could actually affect our vote. I think that is so sad. Like it's embarrassing as a country.
Welcome to America in 2024.
No,
It's called having influence.
I am aware of it. I'm not negating it. I'm not naive to it. I'm just saying it is so sad that this teeny bopper, chick that I get it. She has massive influence, but I see them in a room together. That's going to change my vote. I mean, there's just so many other bigger things. So I find it sad state in America.
Well,
And that's
I'll
why
get-
when I say conservative, I would honestly time machine me to a better time where things like that didn't affect elections. That's
Well, I'll
what I
tell you
mean by
this. You don't need to change 10 million votes. You don't need to change 1 million votes. You got to change 10,000 votes in swing states and in certain counties. So, you know, they say that every vote matters. Shit. In elections like this, it does. So we'll see what happens in this election. Okay, last couple stories, and then we're wrapping up, and we're going to go eat at Padrino's. So, this lady that we keep talking about, it's never good news. It's always something ridiculous and absurd that this lady puts a foot in her mouth and looks worse and worse every single time. And I mean that physically. And I'm talking about my ex-girlfriend, Chelsea Handler.
She's the worst.
She is the worst.
The worst.
You know, it's cute when you're 24 talking about, hey, I'm hot, I'm doing this thing. It ain't cute when you're 50, boo. I said, you know, one time she was giving a whole thing as I wake up at 8 a.m.
No, it was like 10 or 11. Like,
oh no, she wakes up at 8 a.m. She drinks, smokes, does some drugs, masturbates, go back to bed, wakes up, takes more drugs, and carries on without her date and does whatever she wants. I go, are you a woman or are you me when I'm 19 in college? So here's a video of the latest thing with Chelsea Handler trying to convince, quote unquote, her ex-boyfriend, 50 Cent, there's more on that to come,
she won't let that go.
that she'll sleep with him if he changes his vote away from Trump.
Well,
here's
thanks.
her talking to Jimmy
You just
Fallon.
solidified his vote for Trump.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Audio.
Let's play.
You heard about my ex-boyfriend, right? 50 Cent, and his support of Donald Trump.
Yeah,
How
what's
he
going on
tweeted
between
about
you?
it?
I saw your tweets and I go, wait, what's happening? Because you said he was your favorite ex-boyfriend, and then what does he do? He's supporting Trump?
He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cent to 20 cent. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocketbook. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but I am willing to, seal the deal in more ways than one if he changes his mind and publicly denounces Donald Trump. I might be willing to go for another spin, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, thank
There
you.
is so much to unpack there.
You mean how racist she
There's
is?
racist right there. There's sexist right there. There is offering sex for a vote right there.
Prostitution.
There's just some inaccuracy in the tax code right there.
Yeah.
There's so many things we can talk about with Chelsea Handler. We're all going to have a chance to talk about this. But let's let 50 Cent use his own words about why he's considering voting for Donald J. Trump. Let's play the clip about how 50 Cent talks about blacks identifying with Trump. We have that?
Yeah.
Election. So, have you made a decision about who you're going to support?
I'm not sure how to answer that question, to be honest with you.
Have you made a decision?
I haven't.
What do you see as the significance of African American men in this election? Thank you, everybody. For both of you.
I see them identifying with Trump.
Why do you say that?
Because they got RICO charges.
There's the okay. So there's that clip. Thank you. And then obviously, we don't have to look too far. There's a clip of Joe Biden sort of playing the race game, playing the race card, talking about
You ain't black.
if you're thinking about voting for Donald Trump, you ain't black. So hold on for 1 sec. Back up. Yep. Hit the volume. Play this clip.
Talk VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I
Okay.
extended the voting rights.
So there it is right there. So
He's a
we know
whip.
what Joe Biden doing, sort of the identity politics thing. We just saw 50 Cent say it in his own words. Yeah, I think that black guys are actually coming around to Trump. And then you have woke, feminist, angry, just wild, outrageous woman trying to sell her 50-year-old body sex. By the way, she dated, quote-unquote, ex-boyfriend. She dated him for 2 months in 2011. I think we all know what happens when you date for 2 months. He's hitting it for a little bit, and then he goes, yeah, I'm good on that, and never hits her back.
Oh.
And she hasn't shut up about it in the last 15 years.
Exactly.
She's upset.
And we all know my history with Chelsea Handler. We've gone back and forth where she's like, oh, you think you're an alpha. I'm a real alpha. I said, listen, no dude wants an alpha woman. Like, it's just not a thing. It's just, she's a disaster. But now she's trying to use sex appeal to 50 Cent as if that's going to sway his vote. She talked about the 62% tax code in New York. That's actually what it comes out to. If you're in the highest tax bracket, and plus you're paying the New York state tax, and plus you're paying the city tax, and then how dare her say, well, he should think of other people instead of his own pocketbooks. Everyone is entitled to vote for a fucking reason that they want to vote for somebody. So there's so many different things going here. Colby, before I lose my fucking shit right now, let's address Chelsea Handler, this soon-to-be 50-year-old, single, unmarried, a childless, angry woman trying to use sex appeal to try to convince 50 Cent to change his vote away from Trump to have sex with her. Like, that's the bargaining chip.
Yeah.
What's the...
Yeah, that's nasty. It's despicable. I mean, everybody knows with Joe Biden, the lights are on, but nobody's home. So, he's literally a flesh puppet pushing the woke agenda, and it's all bullshit. And I'm not talking about the shit that's dripping down his legs every time he's shitting at these conferences. So, anybody that advocates for Joe Biden, like, you have to have a literally mental check with that person. Like, is that person, like, sane? Like, that's nasty. Like, the fact that she's out there advocating for him, like, it's probably higher than 62% taxes. Like, I'm getting taxed 40% to drive these roadways, the 7% sales tax, all these different taxes. It's such a high number. Like, anybody that thinks that Joe Biden's the savior for the economy is literally just blinded by the propaganda.
And this goes back to the whole abortion thing. Okay, Chelsea Handler, by the way, at this point, she's probably not going to be able to have an abortion. She's a 49-year-old woman that's kind of past her prime. But these are who the women are listening to. The Chelsea Handlers. No dude's listening to Chelsea Handler.
I don't think
No
she's
dude
got a
is
big
changing his
audience.
vote for Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
No.
But women actually listen to these women.
Oh, God.
Laura, the identity politics and the race baiting. How offended are you?
No, I can't stand that. And you know what the craziest thing is? How often is Trump called racist? And truly, outside of that whole some good people on both sides that was taken out of context, what has he said that is racist? They literally spew racism all the time. I can't even fathom these things coming out of their mouths, and nobody checks on them. Like what Chelsea Handler said on like the Jimmy Fallon show. So it wasn't even like a little private thing. Like, oops, I said that and nobody was supposed to hear it. Nobody cares that she's saying, well, first of all, you can't. You're black, or have you noticed lately you're black, or whatever it is. Same thing, obviously, that Biden said on the Breakfast Club. These things are so grossly racist, and yet somehow Trump and conservatives are the racist ones. I don't get it.
But she has the argument that she's a comedian, so she can.
Oh, well,
use
in that
as...
case, so is Trump. He's the funniest guy I know. He's a comedian. All these things he says. I don't honestly fine though. Give me receipts on stuff that he said that is racist, because they spew racism all the time. I just don't get how, the right got pinned as like this racist kind of situation. I don't know. But no, I think she's gross. I think she's super gross. I've never liked her. Can't stand her even more now. I don't like any female comedian. Schumer is gross. Kathy Griffin is gross. Sarah Silverman is gross. They're all gross. I don't know. I think I'm funny, but I'm never going to be a comedian.
Patrina, when are you running for some sort of congresswoman?
Can I tell you, I hate politics. I'm like with my local board in my city.
I thought you were passionate.
I'm in my city, and I am, but I had to sit through one city council meeting, and I said, never again. This is disgusting, and I cannot stand it. And it's all corrupt and gross. So no, not a fan. No.
But
thank
if
you.
AOC can do it, I mean, how hard can it be?
Oh no, I'm not
Anybody
saying.
can do it.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying I can't do it. I'm saying I don't want to do it. Yeah. And also, I like a level of anonymity.
What if we need someone like you on the board? And
I appreciate.
Yeah. What if you're the key to the future of all the women, and the kids and the future generations?
The anti-handler. That's the platform.
The anti-handler.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing we can't stand about Chelsea Handler. I am literally the antithesis of that. Because if I were to stay my day, it looks nothing like what her day.
My whole situation is, why don't more women speak up about this? Because, for every Laura Padrino that's out there saying this, there's literally millions of women that's like, yay, Chelsea, yay, AOC. Why do they fall for this trap?
I think
you're absolutely right. If Trump said anything like this, if you ain't white and you don't vote for Trump, then you ain't white. Yeah. Oh, my God. Could you believe what happened with that? But Joe Biden can say you ain't black.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're not Latino and you don't vote for Marco Rubio, then you ain't Latino. What?
Yep.
If you're not Jewish, like, the identity politics thing is so disgusting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, everyone should be able to vote for how they feel about their candidate, not
aligns
for
with
your
your
race
morals.
or your religion or whether you're a man or a woman. Like everyone should have the ability to vote based on how they identify in the world. Like not identify, but like here's who I am. I'm voting this way. I've had Larry Elder on the podcast, on the PBD podcast.
Love him.
Black man running for the governor of California.
Yeah.
He was told that he shouldn't vote for Republicans because he's black. We all know that Thomas Sowell talks about this. Candace Owens talks about this. The whole identity politics of if you're black, you have to vote for this. Then how do you ever institute change?
Yeah.
How do you ever institute change? So to me, it's so disgusting. But only and let's call it like it is. Only the left can do it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They also kind of close the mics for the women who kind of come up and speak about the different side. When that whole phase, when the elections were going on, there were influencers that spoke up on their political beliefs and brands dropped them because of it.
It's true.
So as much as it's, where are the women that can talk about some of these areas?
Yeah.
Well, some of these women who have the influence, who have the power, they were shut down. Deals, budgets were cut. So as much as it's like, where are the ladies? It's like the ladies who don't really have that audience now have to come and speak because they don't have much to lose because they're not big on the internet. I've seen influencers, brand deals with Revlon and all these big brands cut.
Do you remember?
Cut.
There was one that had a deal with Sephora. She was cut. Now she created her own line,
Exactly.
Elevate, yes, which I have actually purchased their
You bring up
lipstick
a
and it's
great
good.
point.
Yeah.
And the only thing
we
I
get
would say with
canceled.
that is I think we're on the tail end of cancel culture this time around.
Now we are. And
Yes.
now you're
In
seeing a
2020,
rise of women.
It was the perfect storm. It was COVID. It was the January 6th stuff. It was the election. It was just it was the perfect storm where big tech stepped in and they were like, shut it down. Denialism right there.
Right.
Talking about, the jab, everything with that. So
Censorship
is real. Shadow banning is real.
Yeah.
They're going to have a really hard time doing it this time because we're hip to the game at this point. So,
No. Actually,
Chelsea, we see you. Your influence is waning, and hopefully nobody's listening. Let's get into the last story.
Silence.
So, this is it's a weird conversation we're about to have. We're talking about politicians and former presidents potentially going to jail.
Uh-oh.
This is like the reality of 2024, and it's sad, but it's true.
What a time.
But I'm trying to find a silver lining and a happy ending here because I think it's both sides are going to end up looking very ugly from this, trying to lock up political opponents. So I want to have this conversation. So we've had a bunch of firsts in the last couple weeks. 2 days ago, we had the first
President's
son of a U.S. president face felony charges and be found guilty on a criminal trial. So there's a first right there. Hunter Biden found guilty on 3 felony charges related to the purchase of a firearm while on drugs. There's a report saying that Joe Biden thinks that Hunter is the victim of a weaponized system of justice. Irony. Where's the other article, by the way?
That right?
Talking about Hunter Biden being guilty on 3 felony charges. There's another article with that. By the way, his crime, making false statements on his paperwork, that's not it. He now faces up to 25 years in prison and $750,000 in fine. So there's a first right there. Hunter Biden might end up in jail. Okay. There's another first. You can show that article with Trump right there. Trump became the first U.S. president to be convicted of a crime. How many was it in New York?
34.
34.
34 charges. Guilty
For 34 felony counts related to falsifying business records to conceal his affair with Stormy Daniels. So now here's an article that the prison bosses are preparing to house Donald Trump if he's sentenced to jail following a conviction. So we have Hunter Biden, legit crackhead, that could potentially end up in jail, and Trump, a former president, who allegedly paid off a porn star that, God forbid, could end up in jail. I don't think that serves the country at all, even if you don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I think that turns our country into a fucking banana republic. That's just my opinion. You let me know in the comments right there. But now we have AOC chiming in. And she's basically saying, if Trump wins, my biggest fear is that he's going to throw me in jail. So I think we have some audio from her interview. You have that? Here's that.
To you, if Donald Trump wins, what do you do? What's your first move.
I mean, it sounds nuts, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy threw me in jail.
Really?
He's out of his mind.
Oh my God.
I mean, he did his whole first campaign around lock her up. Like, this is his motto.
Oh, he didn't say that, He said he didn't say the teasing.
Yeah,
I
right?
see that, yeah.
I take him at his word. I take him at his word. I take him at his word when he says that he's going to round up people. I take him at his word when he threatens journalists. I take him at his word. I feel like what we saw in his first presidency was an amuse-bouche to what his intentions are. He has learned from his mistakes of appointing professionals, and he will not make that mistake next time.
So, Colby, I got some thoughts here, and I want to get the girls' thoughts here. But remember earlier I said put on your Trump campaign manager hat and sell women why they should vote for Trump. Take off the campaign manager hat and just put on your red, white, and blue hat. You're not a Republican. You're not a Democrat. You're just a proud American. How slippery of a slope is it locking up presidents, potentially locking up Hillary, locking up Hunter, although he should put the crack pipe down, AOC actually fearing that she can go to jail? Because here's how I look at it. If you do that to them, they'll do that to you. Then they'll do this to you, then they'll do it to you. It's a never-ending game of the tit for tat. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to see Trump in jail. I don't want to see Hillary in jail. I don't want to see Joe Biden in jail. I don't want to see George Bush in jail. I don't want to see presidents in jail. Hunter Biden, that's a different story. But as a proud American, what can we do so we're not just throwing each other in jail and just shaming the other side? Because I think it's a zero-sum game, and we're all going to lose. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think AOC shouldn't have anything to be worried about unless she committed treason against this country.
There you go.
It sounds like she's a little afraid of the truth being revealed, that she's not serving the people. She's only serving her own agenda and the nasty fucking establishment that are trying to destroy the nuclear family. So, it's weird that the Obamas, the Clintons, all those families have gotten away with literal murder, but Trump never did anything wrong, allegedly, obviously, but Trump's never did anything wrong, and they're trying to hit him with these 34 counts. So it's a sad time. Like you said, it's a banana republic, and they're weaponizing the justice system against Trump, and it's a two-tier justice system. And honestly, I think the Hunter stuff is just a misdirection because they're just trying to make it seem like it's a fair justice system, but we all know it's not fair. And Hunter should really be charged for the real crimes he's done. Being a drug addict, leaving cocaine in the White House, and fucking his dead brother's sister.
Oh my gosh!
Not a crime to fuck
and why was he walking out of the courthouse with Joe Biden? That's not even your mom.
I thought that was weird too.
Wasn't that strange?
Holding hands,
Holding
they were
hands.
like so cutesy. They
Right.
probably never had like 3 conversations together.
Well,
Shut up.
Joe was having an affair with Joe when Joe was still with his ex-wife that was mysteriously murdered in a car crash.
Here's what I was to address the AOC thing. I like how you said there. She has nothing to fear. Look,
Unless
a lot
she
of
does.
people fell for a lot of the stories that they told us about Trump. Look at the Russia collusion thing. Turns out it wasn't really true. Exactly. Right? Hey, if Trump gets elected, we're going to all go to war, nuclear war. Oh my God. There was no wars. Actually, Joe Biden, there's multiple wars going on in the world. If Trump gets elected, the stock market's going to take. Stock market did pretty good with the exception of COVID. Hey, he's going to lock her up. He actually never locked up Hillary. So the challenge is separating the words and the sort of hyperbolic nature of Trump, because we can all agree it's the greatest, it's the best. He's a salesman, he's a marketer.
Right.
But you have to separate the words and the rhetoric from what actually happened. And that's the difference here, is that she basically is still in Trump derangement syndrome, and she actually thinks that she's going to get locked up. But there's been no evidence that he would do that. Marissa, is there a fear if Trump becomes president again, that some of these things he's going to basically be vindictive and have vengeance? Is that a fear in your mind?
No, not at all. Actually, no, I don't think any of this would happen. I don't think he'd arrest anybody. I don't think it would even come to light.
So you think he'll just carry on, do his business, and make America
great again?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to arrest AOC at all. Yeah.
How about you? Any fear of Trump?
doing all these things?
Yeah.
No, I think she's
probably like, thank
serious Trump derangement syndrome. That's for sure.
Do you think it's a slippery slope that
No, for sure. No, for sure. What we're seeing now is, again, it's a sad state in our nation. That's for sure. I do think that Hunter is very different. Like they're trying to prop this situation up with Hunter. Like, look, it's the same, right? Like, look, you did to Trump. Like you were doing. No, it's not the same at all. First of all, Hunter's no politician. He's the son of, and all those funny dealings. They need to be, held accountable for that. So, yeah, no, sad state affairs these days, and yeah.
All right, Nathy, bring us home. Listen, at one point you kind of were a fan of Obama. Yeah. Now you're a fan of Trump. You don't want to see people in jail. You don't want to see fellow Americans in jail. No. What can you say to maybe, bring us closer together? Because here's what I can guarantee you. Shit's about to get ugly.
Yeah.
And I think, and I stand by this, unless you're talking politics, people don't hate each other as much as you actually think that is.
Right.
Election season, like, oh man, it's going to get real ugly. What can you say to remind each other we're actually, we have more in common than we do have that separates our differences?
I think the most important thing is just remember the people, remember the goal, whether you're in jail or not in jail and whatever happens with the system, remember what you're doing all of these things for. You're sacrificing, Trump's head on dealing with this in front of everybody, getting through the, the process of this, and he's still focused on the goal. And I can appreciate that. You can have somebody who can be dwelling and, oh my gosh, I'm going to jail and all these things, but he's still head on, headstrong. And I like that. I like to see the president that's, running for a role like that and going through some big adversities that people are experiencing today. You made a great point. They're trying to align the same thing with, his son, that it's the same thing, and it's absolutely not. So I think it's just remembering what's the goal of the people? What is really the mission with all the politics and all the other stuff added to it? AOC, I think she's just trying to get in a piece on the cake. I think she's just trying to have some side out. Like, they're going to arrest me too. For what? What did you do that you need to be arrested? Why are you scared? What did you do? What's under your cover? So at the end of the day, I think remembering what the main goal is and making sure it's for the people, I think that's a priority. It's unfortunate to see the situation, but there's a marketing side to it too. What's in the news? All of this. So this is a big opportunity to capitalize on the marketing side of it, as terrible as it is. But just remember what the goal is at the end.
Yeah, and I would say, I'll leave you with this. If you're a Trump fan, if you're a Biden fan, if you're voting for RFK, I don't know people who are Biden fans. If you're a Democrat and you're an Obama and you're, kind of passing on the legacy to Biden, I get it. Let's not forget. We need to work together because our enemies are actual enemies, not the other side of the aisle in Congress, not the other side in the Senate, would love to see the downfall of America. China would love to overtake America as the #1 country in the world for GDP and for economic strength and for the military. They would love to. Yeah. Russia would love to sow discord and chaos in America and let's see America fall. Iran, all these, axis of evils that you were talking about are all aligned. Even the BRICS out there, they're trying to basically bring down the dollar. We have to remember this. Trump, Biden, they're all at least Americans. Yes. Okay? I'm no fan of what Joe Biden is doing in the White House, but I'm certainly no fan of Xi and the Ayatollah Khomeini, what they want to do in America. So I think that's just a bit of perspective. So I don't want to see any of our leaders in jail. I do believe in America first. I do believe in a strong America. And this election season is about to get real fucking ugly. Love thy neighbor, even if they vote different from you. But just be smart when you vote this election season. That's that. So anyway, as always, we have a great time with Colby Covington in the house. Yes. Colby, your camera, I feel like Mike Pence is in the house because we've had Mike Pence's fly with us.
There's a little fly bugging. He's bugging us.
That's right. He's bugging. Ooh, he's bugging. Colby, there's your camera right there, brother. Tell the people where to find you, what you got going on, what's going on in Colby Covington's world. Go ahead.
Yeah, Colby Covington's world is just trying to be the best human I can be every day, try and be better in all aspects of life. And the most important thing, the only thing I care about is these next 6 months before November and getting Trump back in the White House. You know, he's the savior to the people. And if we don't get him back, we're going to be in World War III. And, you know, the dollar is going to be completely crashed. The borders will be wide open and you won't be in a safe and free country anymore. So that's not how our forefathers intended it. These politicians should be serving the people, and they're not. They're serving themselves. You know, you got a guy like Joe Biden's son, Hunter, all these foreign affairs, you know, millions of dollars from all these different countries. You know, why isn't he on the stand for that? For selling out the country to make money for the Biden family. So the only answer is Trump. He cannot be persuaded by money. He already has billions and billions of dollars. So he doesn't care about money. He cares about America. He cares about people. And more importantly, because he has little grandchildren, he cares about his grandchildren's future. So God bless Trump. He doesn't have to be in this fight. He could be sipping margaritas on a private island, any island in the world. But he's out there fighting for us, and he's going to keep fighting through all the smear campaigns, through all the bullshit. He doesn't care. He's the biggest and best fighter America's had. God bless Trump, and let's make America great again.
I got to tell you what, Colby. Okay. I know we were pretending that you'd be a campaign manager or strategist.
Yeah, but
I feel like there's a career for you at the end of the rainbow here. Respect to you, brother. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to be paying attention over the next few weeks.
I know, I'm excited.
Because Colby might be getting a freaking phone call from Dana
Let's
on this fight. Padrina, tell the people where to find you.
Where's my thing? Okay, right here. So, padrinos.com for more information on the restaurant. Like I said, we have 5 locations across South Florida. For me personally, Laura.Padrino is on Instagram. And also I'm on Connect, so you can connect with me. When it comes to politics, we have an opportunity now in America where we have 4 years of Trump, where we can see what he did. We have 4 years of Biden, where we can see what he did. And just look at the outcome. Which one are you happier with? When was it happier, more peaceful, more prosperous? Financially, when are you doing better? Just think about that in a few months when we go to vote.
Look at that. She's not running for any political office right there, but okay, Padrino.
An opportunity.
Marissa, our new friend, you're lovely. Thank you for being here. Tell the people where to find you.
You can find me on Instagram, Marissa Rachel, 3 L's. I'm a realtor here in South Florida, Miami, up to West Palm. If you need anything, reach out.
There it is. And Natalia Del Valle, last but not least, go ahead.
Yes, thank you all for tuning in. Happy SOSCAST Day. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, do all those fun things. Thank you all for joining us here today. I know it was a little bit of a journey with the rain, so I appreciate you guys taking the time. And thanks for the conversation, Sauce. Without you, we don't get to have these type of conversations, so appreciate you.
Well, Colby's a fighter, bro. You think he's scared of a little bit of rain? You think he's scared of a hurricane? There's nothing. He's going to show up.
Good.
Tornadoes, rain, sleet, snow. Colby's going to deliver. So will we here at SOSCAST and Valuetainment. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, 4 p.m. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. We might have a very special guest next Tuesday.
Very big.
So stay tuned for that. Sub to the channel. We'll see you guys there. We out. Thank you.
It's the SOSCAST.